We're finally here to talk about some of the best movies that we saw this year. This year has been an interesting year of some bangers in theatre, some absolutely woeful experiences. But when I reflect on the movies that I will feature in my best movies list, I'm just glad that it provides a range of genres and even budgets of how they were pushed and marketed to the Indian audience. I just want to mention that there are 3 highly acclaimed movies that I have not seen this year, which includes the Marathi film Sabarbonda, the Gujarati movie Lalo, and the Tamil film Bad Girl, which I really want to come around to watching and covering on the channel too. Please do write down your top 3 movies of the year. Before I even start the list, I would love to see if it features on the list. Just on a side note too, I think we can have the wild concept of agreeing to disagree with our picks as well, right?
Nay.
So here is Tried&Refused Productions with top 10 best Indian movies of 2025. Number 10 goes to Lokah Chapter 1. One of the best surprises of the year for me was the Dominic Arun directed movie Lokah Chapter 1, for I love the audacity of what is being attempted by Malayalam cinema. I absolutely love the kind of stories that Dulquer Salmaan as a commercial leading man is backing as a producer. I find it so inspiring on how they are attempting to explore this franchise with an attention to detail that is not restricted as an afterthought, and I found the story, especially on how it revealed itself to be a vampire story with sharp parallels to tales rooted in stories the audience in Kerala is extremely well versed with. I found this to be all fascinating. This tale beautifully progressed. I thought Kalyani Priyadarshan understood the stoic nature of a character brilliantly, an individual unfazed by the centuries of experiences on earth, and Naslin being the perfect bouncing board that never took away from the gravity of the stakes at hand. I am absolutely excited for the potential this universe has, and I hope that an increase in vision and budget, which is inevitably going to happen, does not snatch away how it held on to its core of its roots in Malayalam cinema in the pursuit of pan-Indian success. What Malayalam cinema still pulls off with their minimal budgets is astounding. Number 9 goes to Superboys of Malegaon. A year where Hindi cinema is criticized for almost abandoning the indie space, I love the fact that mainstream producers are going out of their way to invest in the subtle, understated, and risky. And Superboys of Malegaon, directed by Reema Kagti and produced by Excel Entertainment, was a reminder of what we have lost not only as humans but as artists. The pursuit to say something deeply personal has been somewhat lost in the corrupt capitalistic ways of our corporate structures, and I think this movie was tapping into the sense of wonder, the abandonment with storytelling, the experience of losing oneself in fictional storytelling that has somewhat become dead due to the abundance of information and a disillusionment of sorts for us as active viewers of film. Beautifully acted, well crafted, it just slightly made me hesitant from absolutely being obsessed with it, for the time jump in its screenplay of the dream dying was almost assumed versus played out, which I believe was a missed opportunity in truly understanding the heartbreak within Nasir of an artist dying. Nevertheless, a beautifully crafted film indeed. Number 8 goes to Baramulla. This is a film that truly caught me off guard on how beautifully it was crafted. Directed by Aditya Sohas Jambale, also responsible for Article 370, Baramulla was an investigative thriller set in the Kashmir Valley that shed light on themes of identity, historical trauma, and a hovering sadness that clouds the state even today. The film is shot absolutely beautifully by cinematographer Arnold Fernandez, and it made me also conclude that it could have been a spectacular experience in theatres. The performance by Basha Sumbli is still etched in my memory, and how deep the trauma of what the valley endured, specifically by a peaceful loving community, was masterfully etched out. Not many people know about this film, so I'm still keeping most of its beats away from you, as I would love for you to explore and experience it for yourself on Netflix. Number 7 goes to Kantara Chapter 1. The level of expectations that was surrounded by Kantara was absolutely off the charts. I mean, imagine making a movie with absolutely zero prospects of it becoming a pan-Indian spectacle, and a tale so specific to people from a region, something so niche as Bhutakola, resonating with people who have little to no context about its eccentricities. Kantara was a revelation for most, and to build around that universe, creating a prequel for the same on a massive scale, dreaming from a production standpoint to go to lengths unimaginable in a transition period in an industry where most things can be recreated digitally, Rishabh truly left no stone unturned in making Kantara Chapter 1 a spectacle meant to be experienced on the big screen. Beautifully supported by competent performances by Gulshan Devaiya and Rukmani Vasant, making this genuinely one of the best theatrical experiences of the year for me. Number 6 goes to Stolen. This was one of the biggest surprises for me in the Hindi language, and while technically this movie was first showcased in a film festival in 2023, we got to see it this year when it dropped on Prime Video, and my god was it an absolutely engaging experience. Inspired by true events, the movie directed by Karan Tejpal had me on the edge of my seat. The performances by Abhishek Banerjee and Mia Meltzer specifically were outstanding, and it really made me appreciate the fact that mainstream directors from Hindi cinema backed this project so that it gets mainstream attention and gets picked up by a streaming giant. A 93-minute edge-of-the-seat thriller, exceptionally shot and well acted, and I couldn't help but think that we have lost the art of movies that are merely set in the span of 24 hours, something that Hindi cinema used to do a lot in the mid-2000s. A genuine banger that deserves your attention. Number 5 goes to The Girlfriend. This is probably a choice that will raise the most eyebrows and be the most contentious across the board for the themes it explores, and I absolutely love the audacity of this movie, the counter argument it provides for the romantic themes that have become normalized in films, and I will stand by this, it is Rashmika Mandanna's career best performance. For many women who I have interacted with who have watched The Girlfriend have told me on how exceptionally triggering this relationship of Bhumi and Vicky was in this film, for it seemed like chapters of a lived-in experience they had with their toxic partners. For a woman to endure, to be a passenger of a dreadful future, for themes such as consent to be assumed versus communicated, all manifesting into a horror film, showcased chillingly as the walls start closing in on Rashmika. Rahul Ravindran, the director, genuinely carved out a brilliant story through this film. The climax of this film is still one of my favorites of the year. Number 4 goes to Dhurandhar. Talk about exceptionally entertaining theatre experiences, and Dhurandhar is the rare find in the commercial Hindi cinema space where a popular movie is also critically praised. I mean, at least with some critics. It is not reduced and termed as entertaining slop, but it provided an insight into what espionage films can shape up to become. Aditya Dhar made the tale gritty, gory, intense and extremely grounded in regards to the portrayal of action set pieces too, with its momentary stumbling blocks of being an advertorial of the current Indian government in power, especially with the character of R. Madhavan. Dhurandhar genuinely became a movement witnessed by people across the board. People in my life who were the least concerned about movies were intrigued and watched this in theatres, and that's the true testament of a commercial film that really has resonated with people across the board. The tale of Rahman Dakat may be over, but my god, I am absolutely envisioning what a mad ride the sequel is going to be next year. Number 3 goes to Bison. This is truly the case of a biopic that changes the course of what this genre usually does, and I think it further disproves to any naysayers who were stepping in for this film assuming that it is going to be like any other Murray Selvaraj film shedding light on caste oppression. This film is holistically outstanding, so much so that I deeply invested in not only the technical brilliance of how the sport of kabaddi was portrayed, but the personal tale of Kitta, played by Dhruv Vikram, especially the turmoil he experiences as his father, played by Pasupati, does everything in his might to ensure that his son flies away from the shackles we become slaves to. It is exceptionally short in its close to 2 hour and 50-minute running time. I was hooked from start to finish, and it truly was one of the most emotional experiences for me in the cinema hall in 2025. Number 2 goes to Homebound. Usually the topic of which movie becomes the official submission at the Oscars becomes a contentious debate, but this time I wholeheartedly support the fact that an emotionally engaging and hard-hitting movie like Homebound represents our country on the global stage because it is emotionally immersive in its screenplay, it is brilliantly performed, and most importantly, it is a true story everyone should be well versed about versus being dismissive of our harsh realities, living in a false paradise assuming we as a society, socially, politically and morally, are faultless. Ishan Khattar and Vishal Jaitwa truly gave their heart and soul to this movie, and Neeraj Gaiwan may have come out with a feature film after a decade, but the wait was truly worth it. Before I get into my top pick of the year, I really want to give some honorable mentions that I loved but couldn't make it to the list with just one-liners. Gustakh Ishq, a beautifully written film with some of the most poetic shairi, the most swooning locations and costumes, and Manish Malhotra as a film producer may become a very interesting voice to look out in the movie space. Court, State versus a Nobody, an emotionally hard-hitting tale that is another example of mainstream actors backing compelling scripts as producers and was a pleasant surprise for me this year. Mahavatar Narsimha, it is doing God's work especially for animation fans on what Ashwin Kumar is setting out to achieve in his collaboration with Hombale. The potential will be endless. That climax was absolutely wild in theatres. Tourist Family, this was a surprise for how heartfelt, emotional, sweet and simple it was. Barring its geopolitical themes that have become quite the contentious topic of discussion, I had a perpetual smile throughout this Tamil movie. I am forever a fan of Kamlesh Jagan, the firecracker child actor from the movie. The Diplomat. I always consider John Abraham to be an underdog when it comes to geopolitical themes in movies, and this movie was one of the most tightly edited and engaging thrillers that I think deserved way more love than it got. So from So. Raj B. Shetty is one of the most exciting creators and talents from Kannada cinema who I have immense respect for, especially for the range and quality of cinema that he backs and associates with. And So From So was creative, unique, hilarious, and so much fun to witness in theaters. Huck. This is a movie that thoroughly surprised me. Inspired by true events, it showcased brilliant performances by Yami and Imran Hashmi, and I think Yami Gautam will deservedly bag the national award for this movie. And number 1 goes to Ponman. This has to be one of the most surprising and beautiful experiences for me this year, for it not only presented a very simple tale, a story most Malayalis know, but it explored such nuanced themes in the process with such conviction that I was blown away by how it never deviated its attention from the basic plot at hand. Both Sajjan Gopu and Basil Joseph in this film are so entertaining, so engaging to watch. I mean, when you see someone like Basil, someone who is unassuming and short in build, especially in contrast to Sajjan Gopu, you just know that this is a losing battle. But his tenacity to fight makes it an underdog's quest to get what is rightfully his so engaging. Several nail-biting moments, piquing your anxiety as well. Basil honestly is a revelation in this one scene, setting in stone in my mind on how he may just be one of the most underrated and versatile actors working currently, making Ponman, directed by Jyotish Shankar, an extremely engaging drama and thriller. It beautifully shapes up to be much more deeper than what presumably the basic plot may have promised. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what were your top 3 picks of the year. I would love to read it in the comments below. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.